Hi, I'm Dan Burns, the writer and producer of the short film Come Out Wherever You Are. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about bringing the script to the big screen.
I'm Blake Pastino. I'm the lead actor of Come Out Wherever You Are. And in this episode, I'm talking about performance and prose.
Check it out.
It's a program for filmmakers, by filmmakers. It's the Breaking Indie Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Breaking Indie. Today we have the creative mind and the beautiful face. I could say that, right?
You say that.
I don't know which one is which because they're both very handsome gentlemen and they both look like they're pretty capable guys.
And we have the lead actor here, too.
We've got the lead actor. We've got Dan Blake from Come Out Wherever You Are. It's a film that's, is it debuting? Or has the world already seen this yet?
This is the New Mexico premiere. Let's put it that way.
All right.
Yeah.
So we are at the New Mexico premiere at the Santa Fe Film Festival for this film. And has it already shown, or are you guys still?
It has. We had our world premiere last September in Montana, the Montana International Film Festival, which was great. And we're in the early stages of the film festival circuit. We've been at 12 festivals already, and we're going to be working hard the rest of the year.
Well, it feels like it's not early in the game. It feels like you've gotten some practice at that point.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, yeah.
I'm very tired.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Thank you.
But it's getting good traction, and we didn't expect this response this early.
Yeah,
on.
as a filmmaker, it's always nice to have the outside validation of other people want to see this film, and yes, really excellent. So Blake, you're coming from Montana.
That's right. I'm based in Missoula, Montana, in western Montana.
Okay, I want to get back to this.
Okay.
And you said you're coming from Chicago? Is that what I heard earlier?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. And where did you guys shoot this film?
We shot it in Livingston, Montana.
Okay.
And quick backstory is I originally wrote this story as a short story that's published in one of my books back 10 years ago. And it just wouldn't leave me alone. It was set in Montana, and I always knew we had to make a film out of it. And so, we worked with the Montana Film Office, which hooked us up with Blake and our entire Montana cast and crew, and what a cool experience.
That was amazing.
So your background is as an author.
Yes.
You're a published author of fiction?
Fiction. My first book was from my past life.
Nonfiction.
Nonfiction. And then, 20 years of writing fiction, 7 books published so far. And,
Wow, cool.
But I've been writing screenplays for years too. And this is the second of my adapted screenplays that have been made into shorts.
I know that you wrote nonfiction. What was the first book?
It's called The First 60 Seconds. Win the job interview before it begins.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Came out.
How thick was that book?
It wasn't too thick.
60
Thick
pages.
enough, thick enough to cover more than 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was everything before the first 60 seconds, prepping for that first meeting,
Okay.
and then the 60 seconds, and then the rest of the interview, and then the rest of your career.
Do you feel like you've carried that with you? Like that's kind of maybe that writing that has really set you up for success in future endeavors?
Oh, I think so. I mean, it was based upon 15 years of running an IT consulting and placement company and helping people get their next great job. And so it's the book contains all the things that work and leaves out all the things that don't.
Huh.
So, and it came out
Things about him.
at a great time.
You had 60 seconds. You pulled it up and you pause and then, we got to do more of those kind of product placement.
Anyway, that's
Okay.
ancient history.
Wait, so then also because you're the first, we had someone who was doing playwrights who went into writing film, but you're the first like traditional author in that sense that I've talked to. Talk to me about the difference and your feelings about going from, I'm going to say like actual literature to screenplays, which as somebody who also has to write screenplays, I don't consider them literature. So it might piss some people off there.
Well, what I'll tell you is I take a bit of a different approach. My biggest fear as a writer is spending 2 years on a novel that stinks. I mean, you don't know until the 400 pages are done. And so I always start a story idea in a shorter form. Short story, it could be a short screenplay, it could be a feature screenplay, right? I can put 100 pages in investment and know whether it's good or not. So my two novels, I wouldn't call them necessarily literary, but my two novels were reverse adaptations from screenplays.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So,
So
do you
they started as
do you do the like for a screenplay? Do you do a treatment first, or do an outline, or you just like whatever? I'm just gonna write.
I can't just write it. I'm a little bit more methodical and do a treatment and, beat sheet or an outline, just so I need to know the beginning and the end and kind of the midpoint, and then I can.
And how does the actual writing style feel for you? Because for someone who isn't as versed with screenplays, it tends to be dumbed down a little bit. It's less prosy. I feel like, and maybe the best writers find ways to break these rules, but that was a big thing for me when I learned screenwriting. Was like, it is almost too simple. So how does that feel for you when do you approach things differently in the style in which you write? Or
I mean, I think on one hand, the cool thing is it takes out all of the fluff, right? Which you need in a novel or a longer form book. What I love about films is I love the dialogue. When it's captivating dialogue, I am in.
It's so hard to do well.
And same thing with books. If the dialogue is good, I'm in. And so the thing I love about writing screenplays is that's the focus.
yeah,
You're creating these characters, and the only thing that's coming across on the page is what they say. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a beautiful thing. And that's why when I'm done with a screenplay, if the dialogue is good, I'm pretty confident I can adapt it into a good longer form story.
So Blake, as the star of this particular movie, what stood out to you in the character when you first read the script? What stood out that you felt like maybe I attached myself onto, or the things that really kind of grabbed their hooks into you? What stood out for you?
I'm always looking for a challenge. Well, one thing is I was tired of doing genre work. There's a lot of Westerns I shoot in Montana. And the audition process usually is, can you grow a beard and can you ride a horse? And I was interested in something that had more substance and depth. And I play a character named Vern Parrish. And I was really intrigued by the character for two reasons. One is he's the opposite of me. Like, I have theater kid energy all the time, always on, And this guy is very, how would you describe him? He's like low key.
Well, he used to be on all the time.
Yes.
As a politician. And now he's
a retired
out of
politician.
that, and he's completely
Yeah.
off.
So he's very low key to the point of being inscrutable, to me at least, when I was reading him. And he has friends, but like in a way that he's sort of he had been a glad-hander and he knows how to make friends, but no one is really close to him. And no one really knows about him and his past until that is revealed in the first scene of the picture.
Okay.
And I was really interested in trying to plumb the depths of this character who has a great dialogue, but doesn't really say very much and doesn't really reveal very much about himself. And so there is a lot of nuance in trying to bring him to life. And it was challenging and it was great fun.
Excellent. Okay.
I mean, sometimes in a story, what's said is very important. Sometimes equally important is what is not said, and especially in film, because, we need to have that character action and everything else that's going on in the film to help convey that. And no, it was a big challenge for him and the other actors. I mean, really up until the final climactic scene, the dialogue is fairly sparse.
Yeah, it is.
And then we get into it pretty heavy.
The middle of it, really, there's no dialogue, and it's just me alone in the woods in a cabin.
And would you say that does this film have like a soundtrack? Is there music that carries along, or are you kind of stuck with that?
Now, we had a custom soundtrack made for it,
It's really beautiful.
which, we thought about, can we get music that might go with it? It's either expensive or you have to take what you can get. And no, we really thought that the music is a character in and of itself. And if you see the film, 5:30 tomorrow, you'll get a sense of that. It really carries the film along, subtly and beautifully, and yeah.
And so, so as the writer director, was you produce as well?
I didn't direct. I just
Or did direct? Okay, just produce.
So
How do you feel like handing over those words to someone to bring the visual side to it? Does that ever make you nervous? Do you, obviously as a producer, you still have a little bit more authority to have conversations where it's like the writer, you're like, cool, you need to let it go now and let us you're there to console with sometimes, but
usually not even that.
but usually not, especially at the independent level. Like maybe, on a larger film or series, you might have the writers around to reference. But in general, it's like, okay, I wrote it, now I just have to let it all go. With your relationship to this project, how did that feel for you?
Well, it was very important that the script become the movie. And, that started with, my choice of director. I met this young woman, it's been 8 years ago now, and changed my life forever. Met through a friend of a friend, and she's a filmmaker. We hit it off instantly. I watched some of the short films she made, and I could tell, her eye, her creative vision. I said, I need to work with her. And so, I threw it out there. So would you like to read this script that I wrote? I'd like you to direct it. And she read it and she said, absolutely. But her first question back is, tell me your vision.
It's interesting.
Because we need to line up your vision, meaning me, and hers, and the vision of the cinematographer. And I thought, we're off to a great start. Because from the start, we had a relationship based on trust, that they would help to convey the screenplay in visual form, and that I would do whatever I could to create an environment where they could do what they needed to do in terms of direction and cinematography.
That's very interesting. And I've wondered about this question you just asked. I've wondered about that myself, because having worked with all three of them in front of the camera, the thing that impressed me most was the director, Caitlin Pressburg, and Ein Vo is the DP. They're both from Chicago. I don't know if they had worked together before, but they acted like a single unit. And the thing that impressed me most is that they had a very clear vision for every shot and every take. And I wasn't allowed to go off script, which I suck at, but I stuck to the script. And, the blocking was organized down to the centimeter. Everything was very, but I could still make decisions. I still felt like I could be creative. Mm-hmm. But I was just struck by how lucid their vision was. They knew exactly what they're going to do. Every morning you show up on set and it was storyboarded out. And almost, I don't know if you remember this, I've told this story in front of you before, but almost after every take, Caitlin would say, okay, cut, moving on. And then Ein would say, are you sure you're not settling? He asked that almost every day, or after every take.
You want to do another take?
Yeah.
And then sometimes he would say, let's do another take. And she would
I
say,
have
okay.
a hard time with that because I'm like, I didn't think I was, but now you're starting to make me wonder.
But they had done
Yeah.
4 films together. So they are one in terms of how they work together. And so
It was really great to I just
Cool
felt
to
like
see.
all of that stuff was taken care of so I could focus on whatever my contribution was in the work that I was doing,
Sure.
Because Dan and Caitlin and Ein had already formulated a vision. And so my question was how do I help realize that?
So they'd worked on 4 films before, but this was your first time working with them?
Yes.
Do you feel at all pressure when you have such a tight knit team to it makes me have to really step up my game because they're not fucking around?
That's interesting. That's a very interesting question. I never thought of it that way. Well, every time you go on set, you're working with a different crew, generally, In a way, it was kind of a relief that they had worked together, and like I was saying, that the vision had already been crystallized, right? And it was very lucid. And they communicated it to me really clearly. And also, just like personally, we got along really well. So I felt like I fit right in. And they were really the only non-Montana part of the crew. And everyone else, the cast and crew, most of them I'd worked with before.
Okay.
So
I'll come back to my next question.
So there's a balance there between sort of like the core leadership of the project and then the sort of rank and file of the cast and crew, you know?
Sure. And what is the film world like in Montana? Outside of the Westerns, like, is there a community of filmmakers there?
There is. It's a very good one. MSU, Montana State, has a really good film program. And for good or for ill, Yellowstone brought a lot of attention to Montana. Also took all the tax credit money for years in advance.
Yeah. Well, it's a very popular show.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there is a great, really concrete and growing film community. And so I live in Western Montana, and that seems to be largely where it's based. And then also there's a kind of pocket in Bozeman, and there's like a film set, like a film ranch, where a lot of the Westerns are shot. And that's about 3 hours away. But the community I'm in is more like less genre work and more drama, and also more shorts, more film festival fodder, rather than Hollywood fodder, which I enjoy.
Well, it's also home to a program that I have to thank because I probably wouldn't be here today otherwise, called the Missoula. I don't want to say Missoula. Missoula Children's Theater.
Oh yeah.
So
Are you in that?
Yeah. So they would do tours. So the Missoula Children's Theater is usually it's a group of like 2 people and like a pickup, and they go from school to school all around the country, and they have their pickup packed full of all the stagecraft stuff, all the costumes. And in 1 week, they go to an elementary school and put on a show. And so it's really like, now as an adult, like, geez, Louise, wow, what a stressful that must be. Because like they'll do rehearsals Monday after school, and then all they get is a few hours after each day of school. And then on Saturday, you put on 2 performances on a Saturday or Sunday or something.
So did you do it as a
I
kid?
did as a kid, as an elementary student kid. I think I was one of the youngest at our school to get cast as the king in a play, and I was probably like 1st grade, and I just came out and I go, how do you do? How do you do? And I stop and I go, hey, how do you do? And that was it.
That's awesome.
But after that, I loved it. Like, and like that acting bug was like, oh, there's a stage and there's lights and there's costumes, and even when I produced my last project, I did a thing that I totally stole from them, and that is, you're gonna hate this, giving the cast their costumes in like a shopping bag. So everyone on that show, they would have all the kids' names on like, a paper shopping sack, and you'd go around and be like, oh, there's my costume. So with my last project that I produced, like, we didn't have money for prep. I hired a few people, but they didn't get to do prep. It was like, cool, I've set up all the costumes. They're all in an individual shopping bag by the character name. So when people show up to set, like, just help them get through the works, and they're like, you will take care of it. So I totally stole that from the children's theater of like, I love the feeling of like, where's my little shopping bag full of costumes and props? Here we go.
Did you grow up there?
No, I grew up in Washington State.
Oh.
So they would travel all around and do like such a cool program. And I think it's probably like a lot of young actors out of college who are like looking for something to do over the, for a little side gig. But it's like, I remember, for me at that age, they're like such cool adults, and you guys just travel around the country in your little pickup and do shows, and they live on McNuggets or whatever it was. I really do think I fell in love with acting because the opportunities the Missoula Children's Theater brought to our school.
And the University of Montana, which is based in Missoula, has a great theater program. And so it's more like of a theater community in the way that MSU is more of a film community. But Missoula now hosts the Montana Film Festival and the Montana Documentary Film Festival, which is going on now, and the International Wildlife Film Festival. So there's a lot of activity.
Yeah.
in the film community there.
I went to Sundance last year, and the Montana Film Commission, Montana Film Festival was there and had a big party.
Yeah.
So I get all those updates.
Yeah.
So I've yet to go, but I'm very like ready to go cash in my free drink coupon at the Montana.
Good folks. And when you see Montana, like, how could you not want to shoot there? It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're talking about how music is a character, and it's kind of cliche, but like Montana is a character in this picture too, and that like its mood changes.
And were you involved with acting before you got to Montana, or what's been your background with getting into this industry?
My background is as a writer in journalism, and I ended up focusing on science journalism, and then I was asked to co-host a show for PBS called Eons. It's a show about natural history, and so it's on YouTube, and then there's like socials, and we're doing a broadcast component. They air it as interstitials, but they're usually like 10, 15 minutes long. And I started doing that in 2017. And they asked me to do it, and which was weird because like I'm a behind the camera person at the time. And I'm like, have you seen me with your eyes? Like, are you sure you want me in front of a camera? And I quickly realized that I really, really enjoyed it and that I was pretty good at it. And I was always interested in acting, but I hadn't studied it. And I decided to pivot. I wanted to start to learn how to do dramatic work. And then during the pandemic, I took acting classes. And someone found me on social media. My first
Cool.
agent.
Yeah, discovered.
Yeah. My first agent contacted me and just said, are you interested in acting and modeling? I'm like, well, as a matter of fact, it's crossed my mind. And that led to a new agent who's also my manager in Montana, who's like we were just talking about her, the hardest working lady in show business, Rocky Mountain Agency. And it just kind of took off from there. This was my first lead role.
Cool. Congratulations. That's great.
And we were very lucky to meet him. You know,
Yeah.
we saw his audition, and he was a bit younger than how we had envisioned that role. And, you know, we talked, it's like, we'll change that. I mean, and it really made it so much better in terms of your interaction with the other characters.
Interesting.
No, because, you know, just from the audition, we could tell that he was right for the role.
Yeah,
And he worked his ass off.
Politician.
They pulled a prank on me. I don't know if it's a prank or if this, I don't know how common this is in show business, but I just did they sent me the slides, and I did the self-tape for the audition, and the audition was the first scene of the movie, and it's with another character. So there's a dialogue scene. And I did that, and then got a call back probably like 4 or 6 weeks later, and scheduled the callback, and it was by Zoom because they were in Chicago and I was in Missoula. And an hour before the callback, Kaylin emails me and said, there's been a change of plans, so we want to do the scene again. But also, can we do that scene where you have like a nervous breakdown and you break down in tears? And I'm like, yes, sure. And it's the only time in the movie where Vern expresses any emotion. He only does it when he's alone in the cabin, which tells you a lot about him. And I did it, and I was finishing, and like, you know, tears coming down. I'm like, do we need to do it again? And they're like, no, for God's sake, you got the part. That's fine.
And it was pretty good. And then, you know, I'm watching on the monitor as we're shooting inside the cabin when he does it for real, and oh boy, I just thought unbelievable.
Wow,
So-
that's awesome. So
Yeah, it's
so check out this film. Where
it's a beautiful film.
where if I wanted to find this on the interweb,
So right now it's not publicly available.
Sure.
Because we're doing the film festival circuit.
understood.
So you'll have to hold off on that. But
But if I want to follow your journey, and so when it gets distributed, I can find out. Is there a social media account or a web page or anything?
sure, we have a webpage. It's comeoutvhereveryouarefilm.com. And you can find everything in terms of what we did in the production, a great behind-the-scenes film that we did.
Oh, yeah.
The trailer, our schedule for all the film festivals that we're doing, film details, and the like. Instagram is Come Out Wherever You Are Film. No Facebook at this point. And people can also follow me through my author webpage, which is danburnsauthor.com.
Cool.
And my socials are Western Digs, which was the name of my erstwhile archaeology and paleontology blog. And I started the account to promote my blog and then pivoted into acting. And so now Western Digs is my brand.
We're gonna have a whole other conversation about that. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Are you a paleontologist?
No, I'm an English major.
Okay.
Yeah, so my background is in science communication. And I was head of content for the production company that produced Eons. And then execs at PBS asked me if I'd be interested in co-hosting it.
I see.
And I think we did 3 or 4 other shows on YouTube, SciShow, Crash Course, Eons, and they're all educational programs. And there were a couple instances where the host was sick or couldn't make it. And so the director asked me to do it, and the PBS people saw that and this guy can be entertaining if he needs to be.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Congrats, man. We all love to see those days happen where you get to finally get that moment where you're like, all right, well, here's your chance. And then you do it and you succeed. And I don't know, I love that.
Yeah.
And he's one of the busiest actors you'll ever meet. I mean, he is working his tail off, and most notably because of the success of our film.
I'm not going to lie, it's given me great exposure. It really has.
Yeah. Well, it's great. I mean, any role is a good opportunity to play and practice the craft. But, when you get a lead role, it definitely requires a certain more discipline and opens up more doors of focusing in and shooting out of order and things like that, where it's these are new challenges. So, yeah, that's awesome, man. Congratulations to you both.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, did you feel an obligation having, Dan, who's the writer and now producer, when you're there acting, is there a certain pressure to stick to the words or to what was that like for you in that regard?
It was important to me for a number of reasons. One is I respected Dan's work, and I read his book, obviously, and it's almost verbatim, word for word, the dialogue. And it was clear to Caitlin and Ein also that all the talent should stay on script, because so much of the acting is nonverbal that there's a sort of an economy of prose, if you will, that and it's reflected in your own writing. When you write in prose, it's rather spare and open. It's really lovely to read.
An economy of prose. I've never heard that.
An economy of prose. Feel free to use that.
I am going to we will coin that from now on.
And
There's an economy of prose. I feel like as a writer, that's a high compliment, I think. At least as a screenwriter, for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Fern, there are scenes in the middle of the movie where there's no dialogue at all. And it's just my character alone in a cabin in the woods. And so there's not a lot of dialogue, and what is there is very important. And so we all understood the importance of staying on script, because if you change one word, it can have a lot of impact because there are so few words,
I see.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And the words are the character, right? And if we change the words, we run the risk of changing the character.
Right.
And you and I had tested out a couple of examples when we were on the river practicing of, what if he says this, and well, how would that change the character? And it would. So it was great. Our entire team was on board with staying on script.
Yeah.
I also find it slightly surprising that earlier you said your favorite thing is writing dialogue, that it's not just super dialogue heavy in that case. It's not just because that's what jumps out at me means it's just full of ebb and flow of bunch of dialogue. It's not sounds like you're well not practice obviously, but you play within your own boundaries. Disciplined.
Yeah.
Discipline.
And there's a lot of subtext. I think that's the word you used earlier. There's a lot of subtext to the dialogue. And so we're all incentivized to stick to the dialogue because it all conveys. And also it was great to work with as an actor because it allows you to make choices sort of non-verbally in how you communicate these things physically. I can't remember we talked about this, but Vern interacts with 3 other people in the whole picture, and they all try to engage with him in different ways. And he kind of rebuffs each of them in different ways. And a lot of that is done non-verbally, which is really fun to experiment with.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do a nonverbal sign off. How do I act through that one? These podcasts are tricky, man. No, no. I just want to thank you guys again for being here today. I really enjoyed this interview and this conversation, and thanks for coming out to Santa Fe. Thank you for making this podcast all the more special.
It's an honor to be here.
Yeah,
Thanks
it
for
really
having
is.
Well, thank you guys at home or in your car or wherever you're listening. Please, if you are watching this, follow us. And if you're listening to this, please like, subscribe. But also, there's a video element of this that lives on YouTube. And, you know, sometimes we go to great lengths to bring that to you. So just know that's an added resource and bonus. And until then, guys, we're going to go hard and cut. That's it. I don't know. We're working on a sign-off. That's all I say.
It's a program for filmmakers by filmmakers. It's the Breaking Indie Podcast.